76ers. 10, 9, 8, 76ers.
What's going on, everyone? This is UK 76ers. My name is Ben Glasspool, and last night the 76ers lost 115 to 103 to the Denver Nuggets at home at the Wells Fargo Center. Now, I think without context, you'd look at that score and you'd think, okay, I'm going to be pretty angry here, or the Sixers fans in general should be angry. But of course, a lot of issues came to the fore just before the game started. COVID-related issues, unfortunately. Obviously, Seth Curry got it the other day. I believe they were late coming back from New York because they had to quarantine because of that risk. And then it got to the point where now Joel Embiid couldn't play, Ben Simmons couldn't play, Matisse Thybulle couldn't play, Poirier couldn't play. Mike Scott already had his injury. So the Sixers were depleted. There was a risk in and of itself that this could spread even more so if we were to continue to play. So really, this game should have been cancelled. But Adam Silver and the NBA, they just love money, and as long as they're making money, your health doesn't mean anything. So we had 7 players. Only one of them was a starter. We had about 3 or 4 rookies, and the rest were just bench players. Now, before I dive into that, what I will say is that all of those 7 players, played absolutely astonishingly well. Now, the box score may suggest otherwise. I mean, the overall score in general may suggest otherwise. These lot played out their skins. They shouldn't have been playing. I'm 100% certain their minds are elsewhere, but they put in a professional, gutsy, and brave performance, and one which made, I think, a lot of Sixers fans proud, myself included. So I have no issue with this. I have no issue with the loss. It's a 72-game season. Wins will be made up elsewhere. It's just the NBA let us down, and the heads of the NBA let us down, and that's just the way it is, unfortunately. But let's go into it. Look, when we started, Denver didn't miss their first from the field until the seventh minute. So it looked like it was going to be a really long day for Sixers, but they dug in, they got going, they managed to find a bit of a run, 12-4 run. Tyrese Maxey, we'll probably look at what he did for this team because he was astonishing. But he was really leading this team, getting us points, getting us buckets so that we could have a bit of a fighting chance. Danny Green was pulling up from 3 and draining them. Isaiah Joe was 3 of 3 from behind the arc. Admittedly, it tailed off towards the end, but that's promising. The shots you're making were deep shots. They weren't your bog standard wide open corner threes. They were deep shots, which only a 3-point specialist would make, really. And like I said, it tailed off towards the end. But he's a young kid. This is his first start. He's hardly really ever got minutes so far this season. And I thought, like I said, all of them played fantastically well. So we stuck in there. End of the first quarter was 26-28. And everyone had to sort of play their part a lot of minutes. Like I said, only 7 players. Everyone got minutes. Paul Reed, he got proper minutes for the first time this season. And I like what I saw. His shooting needs work, but his inside game was good. And I thought he was very quick on his feet for a guy his size. There was one fantastic hustle play. The ball goes up in the air. Paul Reed wants it more than anyone else. He gets it, keeps it in play, lobs it over to Tyrese Maxey, who's got a clear run to the basket and puts it in for 2. That was just all you wanted. It was effort. It was maximum effort from everyone. And Paul Reed, like I said, fantastically well done today. Yesterday even. Quick on his feet, and I think he'll only improve. He was 58th pick after all, 59th pick. This guy just needs to be bled in slowly, but he got thrown in the deep end, as many of these other people did, and really, made himself proud. He had a fantastic game. So even the second quarter, finished, and we finished at the half, it was 51-58. But we were still in this game. We were going on nice runs. Defensively, we were quite solid. There's only at the half we only had 6 turnovers. And bearing in mind what happened in the game against the Nets with our first team, 6 turnovers was nothing compared to that. So we did fantastically well. On the Nuggets side of things, people were just getting there. Gary Harris, every 3-point shot he took seemed to be as wide open as you'd like. But I'm not here to say X should have done better or Y should have done better. Everyone did the best that they could. And look, this game was always going to be probably a loss. It's all there for you to see. This was going to finish in a loss. But there's just so many more positives to take than negatives, and it's really weird. I don't think I've ever been this happy about a loss. That's not the right word, but I come out of it and I'm just like, there's so many more avenues for the Sixers to go down. Will we give Maxi more minutes? Will Isaiah Joe perhaps get a bit more time in the rotation? Because we saw he could shoot, and that's all we need right now. We just need somebody who can shoot consistently from three. And again, he had to put up probably more shots than he would do in a normal game. And I think that 3 point percentage will only go up. I think he's a confidence player. Of course, it's going to be nervy going into your first NBA season, and you don't see this first few shots drop, and it's just like, oh no, do I belong here? But he showed he did. He had a good bit of form in the first quarter. It didn't quite last until the end, but we've seen enough from a really, really young kid that he can play, he can ball. So hard to figure out where to go next with this. It's just normally my breakdowns, I would say what we've done well, what we've done wrong, and how we can improve and how we can go forward. But it's really hard because these people won't be starting the next game and they won't be playing the same minutes, and I guess Danny Green's the only one that will be playing similar minutes. But the thing is, he was playing almost the point guard for a lot of the time. He was taking shots he wouldn't normally take. He wasn't in his usual areas when he was camped out in the corner, waiting for Ben or Joel to kick it out to him. With space already there, he had to. So the impetus was on him to do more and create more, and that's not his game. So it's hard to really say how he can be improving. I have no doubt that him and Dwight really led this team. There's a really nice play with Dwight, and Dwight got a double double, and he brought that intensity. He wasn't going to take any BS, nothing from Jokic. Look, Jokic got his nonetheless, but Dwight Howard was making his evening difficult. And I remember I think he came off then Tyrese Maxey alley oop again, and it's just fantastic to see. The attitude they had was stellar. Dakota Matthias hit a few shots, perhaps a bit inefficient, but again, you can't get on the guy's back because he was thrown in the deep end, finished on 12 points, 1 assist, 5 rebounds. He did fantastically well. Tony Bradley came in and he can really hit the boards. I thought he did really well. If we just work on his finishing at the rim, because I think the plan with Tony Bradley is that when Dwight ages, you've then got a young guy in Tony Bradley he's only 22, who would have learned from Dwight and indeed learned from Joel, and he could be a really solid backup for this team. And I did like what I saw from him. I thought he was very good. I thought he moved about well. The board, he got 15 boards. He just manages to clean up the glass, similar to how Dwight does. He just did fantastically well. But let's talk about Tyrese Maxey. Finished on 39 points, 7 assists, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals on 54% shooting, 308 from behind the arc. This how he fell to 21. I will never know. He was fantastic from the mid range. He gets his points on all three levels, but from the mid range especially when he hit the free throw line, he's got that floater and he's got that jump shot, and it's automatic. It's an inefficient shot, but he'll drain it, and he's such a weapon to have off the bench. His threes, they're not all catch and shoots. He's pulling up, he's coming in at pace, and he's pulling up, letting it go, and he's just got all the confidence in the world to do whatever he wants. He can contort his body so that he can draw contact or get a clear eye to the hoop. He was taking on Jokic. You can say what you like. Jokic defensively perhaps isn't the best, but you're taking on an all-star and saying, I'm going to get my points over you, despite the fact that you're almost a foot taller than me. He's just going to go to him and just say, I'm going to get my points. And there's that bravery, that gutsiness, which was embodied by everyone in the team today, but Tyrese especially was. It's just not what you see. That we don't get our points like this on the Sixers. I don't remember the last time we had a point guard that got his points in such a way like Maxey did. He's such an X factor for this team that he's definitely going to get more minutes in the rotation for sure. He's guaranteed that for himself. Can he sneak into the starters? I don't know, but he should be leading the bench unit now. Him and Shake. I mean, that as a bench backcourt, you're not going to find too many better in the NBA right now. Is it scoring and being that spark plug off the bench? It's just exciting to see, and I can't wait for everyone to come back fit. I'm hoping they're all okay. I'm hoping there's no long-term issues that we need to worry about. But like I said, there's just so many more positives than negatives to take from this game, and we really should be celebrating what we just saw. We can, of course, have a go at the NBA for putting us in a precarious position. It should they set up the schedule so that if there are postponement, if there's any health risks, we can then say we're not going to do it now. We'll do it later on in the season when these risks have gone. But like I said, they just love their money, so you've got to do what you got to do. Um, One thing I will say, what annoyed me, I saw a lot of people on Twitter. They were saying, "Oh, Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, they're cowards for not playing." Well, firstly, no, they're not. They're not cowards for not wanting to risk their own health and indeed the health of their family and their friends. Joel Embiid's just got a 3-month-old kid. You don't want to bring a COVID back to someone as vulnerable as that. So I completely stand with that. But as well as this, we just even if Ben and Joel could play, we just shouldn't be playing. It's just strain. It's that these protocols were put in place to ensure that if teams couldn't play, they could move it to another date. And the NBA, for whatever reason, thought, okay, we'll introduce these protocols, but there's a team in the Sixers that has one starter, the rest of them rookies and bench players, and only 7 players overall. But yeah, they should be okay to play. You introduce these protocols for precisely these moments, and you don't use them because you want to make a bit of extra cash for a game that no one's really interested in because no one. It's going to be one-way traffic. I mean, the Nuggets were always going to win once we knew who was playing and who wasn't. So I think the NBA should be really just ashamed of themselves. How they conducted themselves in the bubble. They really, gained a lot of respect, and they did that perfectly well. But today it just undoes a lot of that good work because it shows where their loyalties lie, where their priorities lie, and it isn't with the players. It's with their pockets and how much money they can stuff into it. So that's the only real grievance I've got. I really enjoyed myself watching this game. I watched it right to the end. It was fun. It was nice to not have any sort of worry because you knew the score. It was gonna be a loss, but it was just fun to go into that and just say I get to watch. You want to see your rookies play, you want to see these bench players play, and just see what they've got. Play basketball, and it was just refreshing. And look, we're now 7-3. I know people say, "Oh, the Wells Fargo Center winning streak's gone." Look, this doesn't. No one. No, look, it counts in practice, but it doesn't. We are still a good home team. The streak, in my opinion, is still intact. I will just ignore this game. Um, but yeah, it's a bit. It was a dismal day overall with how, like I said, the NBA conducted itself with the worry to people's health and potential injuries, etc. But you got to try and find the positives. It was an enjoyable game. It was really good to see Tyrese and Isaiah Joe and Paul Reed, B-Ball Paul. What a nickname that is! And they all just played to the best of their ability. Gave their all 100%. They're playing 30, 35 minutes, perhaps more, probably more, and they just did themselves so much justice. And you couldn't be any more proud of the guys. Going to the next game against the Hawks, hoping we've got just a few more people back so that can be an actual competitive game of basketball. But yeah, I'm not too disheartened, and neither should you guys. We're a long old season. We're one game, one loss. It doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things, especially when you compare that to the health of others. That's the most important thing. As long as they keep healthy, they stay safe, we'll be okay. This is no big deal. We move. Anyway, have a good one, guys. See you later.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.